because it is sitting in a tree ever so prettily, as only a leopard could do. And so a very nice find for us. Actually, we just came around the corner and there, sitting in the tree, is this beautiful leopard. Now, I can't see nicely because the glare is really bad, and I forgot my binoculars at home, naughty Tristan, but it looks like Xidulu Female. I think it's her. I would just want to check when she turns her face a little bit better towards us, but it looks like there's a 5 spots on the top right. Yes, so I think it is Xidulu Female, which is very, very cool to see. She's not far from where supposedly Hukumuri is with his kill, because Hukumuri is inside Simbambili apparently, and we are actually, well, the tree is inside Simbambili. It's off the main road, but it's being very, very delightful for her to sit right here next to the road, as close as she is. So you can see there she's perched in this beautiful marula. Now, I don't see any sign of food here, and I wonder if maybe, just maybe, Hukumuri didn't steal from her, and that's pushed her kind of this way towards the edge of the boundary. But either way, doesn't matter. Like I say, it's such a nice thing to see, and she really is a beautiful individual. She's a big girl, and I think it's her. Like I say, I mean, it looks very much like her with that 5 spot pattern with the 1 spot above the 4 spots on her right side. That's always a good way to work out whether it's her or not. And like I say, a stroke of luck, because it's really on the boundary, and if she comes down and walks 20 meters to the west, we're not going to be able to see her at all. So very, very cool, and like I say, nice way to sort of finish off our drives. Hopefully she'll stay up the tree for the remainder of the drive, and then maybe come down and come onto Djuma this afternoon, which would be very, very special. But awesome to see. It's amazing how she's starting to kind of come more and more to our side. What interests me about this whole thing is that this is an area where Shadow used to spend time. When I first started at Wild Earth, and when I spent a lot of time at Simbambili, this is where we looked for Shadow. It was on this main road, and either side of it she used to hang around, going down towards Gari Main and to the gate. That was all Shadow's territory, and she used to go up and down in this area. Even with her cubs, she used to spend a lot of time with her cubs in this section. But since the sort of changes have taken place, and she's had this current cub that she's got, and she's kind of pushed a little bit further to the east with the disappearance of Karula, and Tingana seemingly moving more east as well. Shadow has kind of filled that void that Karula left on the western side of the Mulawati, with Tandi being on the eastern side, and then up into the central parts of Djuma. Now with Hukumuri being around, and the fact that Xidulu has mated with Hukumuri, I'm pretty sure we're seeing a situation where she's now pushing further into Djuma, because so is he. And at the end of the day, wherever he goes, she'll want to be in the core of his territory to make sure that now that she's mated with him, if she is pregnant, that she is able to keep that cub safe. And so that's why I think we're seeing more sightings of her, is because Shadow is pushed further east, and now she can allow herself to come further into Djuma as well, which is very cool for us here, because she is one of the most exquisite females, and very big girl, and a different genetic, which is very good as well. At the end of the day, we want lots of different genes around. It helps with the diversity of the area. Now, Lisa, you're wondering if she's got a kill in the tree. I can't see one, so no, I don't think so. I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe there is a kill stashed somewhere in that tree. I can't see anything from where I am. Like I said, I didn't bring my binoculars. I was a bit naughty this morning. I forgot them on Rusty, and Ali took Rusty this morning, so I don't have my binoculars with me. But Senzo's doing a bit of scanning with the camera there, just to try and see if any of those forks house some legs dangling from them, but it doesn't look like it. It seems as though she's just lying up in the tree just for, well, comfort, I suppose. Maybe it's because it's been a warm start to the day and it's just nice and comfortable to be up there. The thing is she's breathing quite heavy, and it looks as though her tummy's fairly full. So I wonder if maybe she didn't have a kill somewhere close by. And like I say, Hukumuri apparently is on a kill on One-Eyed Pan Road. Now, if we come back to me, Sens, I'll show you where we are in relation to this. So there's a pathway here. You see this big pathway that's running there. Now that pathway takes you straight to One-Eyed Pan, which is a small little water point, much like a mud wallow. And from there, then the road kind of extends a little bit further. But Hukumuri is somewhere close to that pan, so straight along this little pathway, which means that maybe he robbed that kill from Xidulu, and she's now just come this way and is now resting. So she fed a little bit, she's hot, she's full, and there's a lot of flies around at the moment, and so that's why she might have just gone up into the trees to get away from the flies. There'll be a bit of a breeze up there, and just to be a little bit more comfortable, and her kill itself might not be in the tree because, like I say, Hukumuri might have taken it from her. Difficult to say whether or not he did or didn't, but at the end of the day, she's lying here very relaxed, and there's no sign of any carcass that we can see. I will reposition just now and try and have a look. Like I said, we're right on the edge of the road, and so we have a situation where, you know, we can't go any further to the right of where she's lying, but at least we've got a semi-decent view of her from here, that's for sure. I think so. Anyway, how cool is that? It seems as though we've had a spectacular morning all round. It's been a little frustrating for us, for Senzo and myself, but Ali's had a seemingly epic morning, and James seems to be absolutely full of his usual sarcasm and wit up in the Mara. So it seems as though it's been a good day, and it's certainly a good feline Friday when you've got lions and leopards on the same morning. So, Dale, you're wondering what the word Xidulu means. It means a termite mound. So our two new leopards that we are seeing on Djuma are chicken medicine and termite mound. It's very, very, serious names, and you can see lots of thought went into both of them. No, I'm kidding. So for me, I mean, Xidulu has been many different leopards in the past. In fact, I think there's still one that is alive that is in the Londolozi area, and there's been a number of other Xidulus that have been named that. So it's not my favorite name for a leopard. I feel like it's been used countless times, and sometimes, when you get a spectacular individual, and the Xidulu female that was on Londo's, who I think passed away recently, she was kind of like the Karula of Londolozi for us here at Djuma, and so naming another leopard Xidulu doesn't really sit right for me, but I wasn't, involved in it, and certainly we didn't have a say in what went on, and so that's why the name was given. And now that it's been given, there's not really much we can do about it, so we're just going to have to swallow the pill. But it means a termite mound, and she was given the name because she's apparently always on termite mounds, although a lot of the photos I see of her is more on trees and fallen over stumps than on mounds. But I mean, we have very little experience with her, so I suppose we can't really grumble too much. We just got to take what comes our way. As for Hukumuri, well, like I say, we've been through his naming a few times. Now, what's that coming up the road there? It looks like a warthog's coming straight towards us here. Senzo, you see on the road? So there's something walking straight towards us. Is it a warthog? Yes, it is a warthog. So there's a warthog that's walking straight in this direction. Now, the warthog probably won't see her up on the tree. Now, don't go that way, warthog, because we're not going to be able to see you if you go that way. So the warthog has gone in, is going to go straight to where she is at this moment. So there we go, crossing, and she's up in the tree now. She hasn't seen the warthog yet, but she most certainly probably will at some point. If she just turns her face to the left-hand side, she'll have a view of it. The problem with it is that the warthogs are going deep into Simbambili, and so if she tries to hunt them, we're not going to get much of a view at all. In fact, we'll probably lose her in about 2 seconds. So let's just see how this plays out. I'm hoping that the warthogs turn a little bit and start pushing more towards our side, and she actually notices them, because for now she hasn't actually even seen them. She's busy kind of looking off into the distance down towards Simbambili kind of campsite rather than actually at the warthogs, and now she's turning and almost looking at us. Xidulu, to your left, girl. Down and to the left. No, apparently not. Maybe warthog's not on the menu. She's almost looks as though she's in full relax mode and recline mode. She's not really interested in hunting warthogs just yet. Also, interestingly enough, is you very seldom see the females chasing warthogs of that size. They'll go after small piglets, but warthogs of that size are generally left for the males. They can be very dangerous warthogs, and female leopards, for the most part, don't really tackle warthogs too often. There's too much danger involved in it, and so you find that they'll kind of watch them unless there's small piglets and then go. It obviously is not always the rule, and you can never... There we go. I think she's noticed them now. You see how she's just turned her head. All of a sudden, she kind of just swiveled her head around, but she hasn't changed or adjusted her position at all. She's kind of got her legs still down. If she was wanting to hunt those warthogs, you would find that those legs would have come up onto the branch itself, and she would have been positioned to then kind of just drop down and go towards the ground. So you'd find legs up onto this sort of branch. Now she's also watching another car that's just arriving. So there's one of the vehicles from the west that has also got here, and that's also maybe why she just moved her head. But let's see what she gets up to. For now, she's just going to sit tight and take it easy. Nope, it doesn't seem like she really wants to hunt those warthogs too much. Like I say, her whole demeanor and her body position would have changed completely. She's still in very much a relaxed situation. She's got her, like I say, her legs dangling, and she's not really paying too much attention. She's more watching the vehicle that's driving around her than anything else. You can see there, that is a fully relaxed individual. It's not an individual that's prepping to hunt at all, I'm afraid. I thought maybe she would. It was kind of looked as though the warthogs were going to come in this direction, but maybe the warthogs have also cut a little bit further away, and she's just not really that interested. Right, now, I'm not sure who exactly James is referring to, but apparently we need to send you to him because he has a feathered friend named George. She has indeed. So she's up and looking, and the reason why she didn't hunt the warthogs is now very obvious because I've changed position slightly, and I have found why she's in this tree is because she has a dead steenbok up in the tree, which is on the far right. It's very difficult to see it. It's up there. Go. Is it not? Maybe to the left a bit, since? Have we got it there? Well, you can see somewhere there is a dead steenbok that's hanging in the branch. It's very difficult to see it. It's not easy at all. But since let me just move because she's moved and there's a really nice view of her. So I want to just quickly get a better view of what's going on, which should be straight through like that. There we go. Hello, girl. So she's kind of peering at us now through the bushes, which is quite nice. At least you can see her face a little bit better. But that's why she's in here, is because she's got this carcass. And so she'll be here for probably the most of the day. There's not, at the end of the day, not very much left of it. There's probably enough to go through for tonight, and then she'll probably be out of here tomorrow. The thing is she's had this carcass for a little bit already, so I'm not sure if she killed it on this side or if she killed it on our side. I don't see any drag mark coming from our side over this way, so I think it must have been killed this side and then dragged to this tree and put up into the tree. But she's definitely had that for more than a day. That meat is dark, it's dry, which means that there is some sort of rotten that has happened to it. And yesterday was a warm day, but I mean, at the end of the day, it probably was killed the night before last, which is good. It is crazy to think also that we've got a situation where we've got two leopards within almost 300 meters of each other, both on different kills. It's pretty cool to see. Now, look at that. Isn't that beautiful as she comes down the tree? Now, we've got to park where we are at the moment because of the sort of angle that we're at, and hopefully she's going to come down. The good thing for us as well is that, oh yes, come lie there. That's it. Good girl. So she's hopefully going to lie exactly on that branch, because that will be much better for us, that's for sure. Let me go. No, she's going that way. Or are you going to come down, girl? Are you tired of being in the tree? She's a very pretty cat, and she's a nice sized female as well, which is very cool to see. You know, we often see Tundi and Shadow, and they are beautiful girls, but they are a little bit on the smaller side in terms of female leopards, whereas Xidulu is a bulky character. It comes from that same sort of lineage down in that southwestern corner. Most of the girls down there are a little bit bigger than what we see from this eastern lineage, which is Karula's kind of bloodline. Karula was not small, but, you know, Tundi, Shadow, Shongile, Shavinzi, all of them were a bit more petite in size. Oh, that is absolutely perfect. Thank you, my girl, for lying like that. She's decided that she's going to show off to all of you and just lie perfectly for us right in front of where we are. She's not even, I would say, 10 meters from where I am now, just lying kind of facing towards our direction, which is absolutely wonderful. So we're being spoilt this morning to finish up. And the good thing is that she should be here this afternoon as well. So we should have a nice afternoon with this girl. She should be kind of in the same tree. I don't think she'll have gone too far at all. I think she'll kind of maybe go and drink, and it's going to, like I say, be interesting to see if she goes to One-Eyed Pan to drink or if she comes onto the Djuma side to drink, because there's a nice little mud wallow not very far from here. Now, Alicia in our FC is asking questions instead of Rebecca, so trying to throw me off, but Alicia, I'm on to you, don't worry. Now, if you can just repeat the name for me, Alicia, because it also sounds awfully like your name that you just gave me for our question that we have. So Vakisha, you wondering how often Xidulu is seen in this area? Well, to be honest, we've only had her live on drives, I think 3 times on Djuma itself. We used to see her on Arathusa a few times, but we haven't seen her very many times at all. Definitely under 10 times that we've had her on live drives. And so she's fairly new to this section. And in terms of seeing her up as far as we're seeing her right now, she is very, very new. I mean, it's only in the last kind of 2 weeks that she's been in this kind of area, as far as we know. So it's really quite exciting to see the fact that she's kind of making her way in and starting to become a part of the scenery here, and I'm sure she's going to spend a lot more time on Djuma as well, particularly because Shadow is not moving in this area at the moment, so there's a big vacant space for her to kind of use this northwestern corner, and it's a productive corner for leopards. It's always been a good spot for leopards. We've had a lot of leopards that move here because you've got Sydney's Dam, then you've got a few mud wallows between Sydney's Dam and where we are, and then you've got One-Eyed Pan, so it's a nice little water chain that runs along here, which attracts a lot of different animals and therefore attracts the predators. And so we've had a lot of male leopard thoroughfare through here, and even female leopards, like I say, in the form of Shadow, and Karula used to spend a bit of time here as well, so it's a good place to be. But you can see she's kind of licking her chops and looking around. It's amazing me though with her, she almost looks a lot older than she actually is. She's still a young female. She's only about 4 years old now, so she's just coming into her first estrus. She's just mated for the first time. She's never had cubs before, and she looks a little bit kind of older in her face. It's an interesting kind of phenomenon, because if you look at, you know, Tundi and Shadow, they're 11 years old, and you compare their faces and their ears, you'll see that there's a very similar sort of kind of aging pattern. She's got quite tatty ears already for her age. Unfortunately, though, it is that time of the day where we are going to be starting to head home. There's good prospects for this afternoon, so I hope that all of you will be joining us to try and see how Xidulu fares during the heat of the day, and then this evening maybe we'll get lucky and get some really cool stuff. But from all of us in the Mara and Djuma, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you all this afternoon on the Sunset Safari.